Rohan!
Hello and welcome back to Rohan's Corner. And let's just get one thing straight. This is the original corner. There are no other corners. All other corners are imposters. Anywho, this week I decided I'd like to talk about scale versus extras versus cost. Because this seems to be a massive debate that's happening all the time at the moment between how large a figure is, how many extras it's coming with, and how much it's costing. The old sort of price points as we knew them are starting to get skewed. And so I'm going to show you guys what I'm talking about with a few little helpers. And poof, just like that, my friends have joined us on the show. So you can see behind me here, we've got Deluxe. Well, what was the old... I can't remember what that class was called now. Was it Scout class? I don't know. From Power of the Primes, and then obviously moving up to what we now classify as Deluxe for Earthrise, Cliffjumper, and Bumblebee, War for Cybertron, Siege Deluxe, Red Alert, who's a sort of a mid-scale Deluxe. I picked him with this amazing accessory I put on him, aftermarket accessory. Next to him we've got the Voyager scale Ramjet from Earthrise, and we've got Leader class Astro Train from Siege, who's actually shorter in robot mode without all of his kibble pack backpack to assist him. And then around the back we got the Commander class Jetfire and Commander class Skylynx and a Titan class just for show. So really the point I want to make is that in the old days we were paying sort of £7, £8, £9, £10 for these Scout class figures, and now Hasbro pushed up the price point to incorporate them into the Deluxe class. So it's almost double the price, and now it's actually £16, £17, £18 for about the same. There's a little bit more plastic in there. He's got a bigger accessory. Well, it didn't come with an accessory wind charger, but he's got a big accessory. And then we move up to the Deluxe class, which is the same price point for a lot more plastic. You get a lot more toy, but it's the same price point, less accessories. I haven't got his shoulder cannon here with me. And then in terms of the Voyager class, this again, it's a step up, £25 price point now, was 22, and it's the same size as the Leader class, but obviously the Leader class comes with all these extras. And my question is, all these extras, are they worth all the extra cost? From 25 to £50? I'm not entirely convinced. However, if they had made Astro Train into a Commander class, then probably I would have bought him at £70, £80 because I think he's worth it. At the same time, if he'd been a Leader class at 50 quid and had something like opening hands or a better paint scheme, or another amount of articulation, or some ankle rockers, or just an unbelievable alt mode, then yeah, sure, I would have paid £50 for that figure and not been too unhappy about it. As it is, I had to go and buy an accessory for him to make him look better, which is just silly in its own right. I'm quite happy with the Commander class price point for Jetfire. I think it's worth it because you get such a large figure, such amount of accessories, and it's the first time they've ever knocked one out of the park as well as they have. However, now moving on to Kingdom Rodimus, it seems like they've taken what should have been a Leader class figure, which is actually a Voyager scale figure, with extra accessories and bits and pieces, and made it into a Commander class price point. So it's gone from what should have been 25 quid to 3 times the price, because they're including, okay, he's got a trailer, so that makes him up, bumps him up to the sort of Leader class price point with the extra bits and pieces, and then they've thrown some more accessories in there, like a sword and some blast effects, and they say, okay, now it's worth 80 quid. I'm not so convinced. And then at the end of the line, we've got our big boy, our friends in the Titan class, who started, I think this guy was around about £100 when Fortress Maximus first landed. However, as time's gone on and as further products have come out, every new one has been £5 or £10 more, up to the point where Scorponok's now getting up to about £150 for the re-release. So, coming back to my question is, size versus accessories or extras versus price. What are you willing to pay? for me, I don't care if every figure is a deluxe class. If it's going to be this quality, then fair enough, I'll pay for it. If Windcharger had actually come with a proper weapon, if he'd actually been slightly bulkier and actually had slightly more parts to cover up some of the gappage, then I would have quite happily gone up to the next price point, i.e. deluxe price point, to cover that, just like we did with Cliffjumper and Bumblebee. And then in terms of the deluxe and Voyager classes, I think they're fine, to be honest with you. There's not a lot of difference. If we could have something like opening hands on the figures, and we could have something like more accessories to match their G1 kind of look, then fair enough. Then we would go up to a Voyager class for those sorts of figures. And then in terms of the leader class, I mean, they've just kind of messed it up, really, in my opinion. You got Prime's robot mode, which is Voyager class, to match in scale with Megatron and Siege Prime, which makes sense, but then make it 25 quid again. And they threw in this small dinky trailer, which should have been bigger and should have been leader class at 50 pounds, which would have made more sense. And then, hey, now we've gone up to the Commander class with Kingdom Rodimus, and it's just a mess. Who wants to pay £80 for what is going to be a Voyager scale bot mode with a battle platform / trailer, which is just going to sit in that mode and not do anything? I mean, like I said on TF UK, we should have had something innovative, like in War Dawn, where the transport drones were, sections of the back of the trailer transformed into a robot. That would have been cool, and that would have been worth a little bit more money rather than throwing in this sword and these blast effects, which I just don't care about, and saying, okay, it's going from a leader class price point of 50 up to a commander class price point of 80. That's just shocking for me. Anywho, what do you all think? Would you like to have a bit more of a set price point for your scale? What do you all think? Anyway, for another week, I've been Rohan on Rohan's Corner. Back to the studio.
Hey boys, we've been rumbled. Well, let's bounce.